Hello, it's Joey and today we're making fold over pockets in a quick and a really easy tutorial. So I'm going to be making one of these pockets, which is great for putting in a junk journal, and it's also fabulous for putting things in for Happy Mail. The cardstock that I'm going to be using today comes from a pad like this, which is one that I found in my local craft store. It was £3 for 24 sheets, and this has, I'll show you some of the pages, just some gorgeous pages in it. But this style of pad I know is available in many shops and comes in many designs, so maybe you've got one of these in your supplies too. The pockets themselves have got two compartments, so there is one here at the front and another one here. I have sewn around it, and also what I've done, I'll show you here, I have decorated it with a bit of washi tape and scrap paper. I've added a beautiful butterfly and also a closure like the ones I made a couple of weeks ago. To make life super easy, and that's what we want, I try to bring that to you on my channel. I have all of the 10 steps for making these in a little page set out here for you, so feel free to take a screenshot if that helps, and check out the video description box because there may be a little discount code for you down there. You never know what you might find. So the first thing we need to do is cut one of those pieces of cardstock down to size. So this is really pretty, isn't it? I love these beautiful teal colours. And what we need today is a piece of either very thick paper or cardstock, and I'm going to cut this down to 4 inches. I'll show you here, 4 inches wide by the full 12 inches, which is in centimetres 30.5 centimetres by 10 centimetres this way. So let's just cut it down. Take one off. Obviously I can get 2 more out of that piece, which is really good. So now I have a piece of cardstock which is 4 inches wide by 12 inches tall. That was step 1, we've done the cutting. We're going to make 2 neat folds. So we're going to measure so that we have the fold here and the fold at the bottom in exactly the right places, so that this overlaps enough, but we still have enough of a pocket down here to put lots of lovely goodies in. So let's just do that. We want to make pencil marks at the 10 centimetre point, so 10 centimetres down, make a pencil mark, and at 24 centimetres down, and that in inches is at 4 inches down here, and then that's at a full 9.5 inches down here. And I will use those marks to make some nice crisp folds. So I'm just going to fold the top down. It sounds really easy, but getting it quite neat and tidy is quite important at this stage if you can. And crisp folds using some kind of bone folder or the back of your scissors is a good idea too. So getting that to be as neat as possible so that the sides will be nice and flush here, and just flatten that down. And I've got to the basics of a pocket. Now one thing I would want to point out is the way that I've folded this and where I scored means that the image on the back is upright, but the images on the front here and here are upside down. So just think about reversing your cardstock round if you want the back to be upside down, as it were, and the front bits to show the right way up. What I quite like is opening it up and seeing the inside the right way up. Alternatively, be really smart and use a pattern that doesn't have an up and a down. Anyway, what we're going to do first is round the corners of the top flap. Just like that. So we've just folded and created these arcs, which I think are so much nicer than a blunt right angle. That is the bare bones of our pocket. What we're going to do next is add an internal pocket. So we are going to add an extra piece before we sew around it, which gives us plenty of opportunity to add as many goodies as we like. And to do that, all you need is a piece of scrap paper. I've got just a little piece that I've pulled out from my scrap here, and what I want to do is position it underneath the lower flap so that there is a little bit of visibility of pattern, but don't go too far, too near to the fold at the top, because I think it makes it harder to put things in. And all I'm going to do is add a tiny bit of glue just to the sides. So this is going to sit just in here, and you don't need cardstock at this stage, and in fact I would recommend that you use relatively thin paper because we are going to sew around this, and that will make it really thick if it's another layer of card. So I'll add a tiny bit of glue, just a tiny bit, and this is just to help position it so that it stays in place when we sew around. And I also don't want a lot of glue on my needle when I sew around with the sewing machine. The smart bit at this stage is to try to do it in a way such that it's very even and tidy. So we want this edge here of the new pocket to be parallel with the cardstock flap, and I think that probably is. That will do me. So I can just take my scissors and trim off the edge there, and we'll just do a process check so you can see where we're up to. Get that out of the way. Being tidy today doesn't always happen. So we've cut the cardstock, we've made the folds, we've rounded the corners, and we've just added a little pocket. So again, before we sew, we're going to decorate the outside of the lower flap, and really you can do anything you like at this stage. I'm going to play with a little bit of my thin washi tapes because I think they're really smart, and then we're going to add a little closure to the lower flap. Decoration I'm going to add to this lower flap here, and I just have a couple of little tricks that I use. Let's weight that down. I want this to be quite flat. I'm going to just take one of these washes. Where's my favourite? There we go. This one's got a little bit of gold in, which I really like, and it's slim. It works really well on these little pockets. What I want to do is add it so that it's visible when the top flap is closed, and then maybe just get an extra piece that you see when you open it up. So I'm going to add it in specific places. I'm going to add it at 2 centimetres, 4 and 5, going up here. So at the 2 centimetre point, at the 4 centimetre point and a 5 centimetre point, I'm going to add a little strip of washi, and I'm using my mat here to help me get it to be neat and tidy. So I will just stick a bit on there using those grid lines, and that means I know it's nice and parallel to the edge of the pocket flap. I'm not great at lining things up by eye, I just need a little bit of help. I'll add another piece at the 4 centimetre point. I'm just coming a little bit below that 4 centimetre point, and then I'm going to add one at the 5 centimetre point. How about there? And these gaps are just my way of getting something that's neat and tidy, with an odd number of lines, which I think is good for the eye. It's visually pleasing, and it's just a little bit of extra detail, so we're adding something to that affordable cardstock that we started with. And because I'm not going to see the inside of this pocket flap, I can just tuck those behind. So don't trim them off, tuck them behind. That makes it really neat too. And that will give me a bottom flap that's got some nice extra decoration. I quite like to add a little bit of something up here, and I like it when the sewing goes over the top. So I'm also going to add a little bit of washi, any little bits of scraps of paper. I'm just making a little sort of decorative cluster on the top flap. I need a butterfly. This is where you get to see the inside of some of my little pouches and pockets of gubbins. So this is my butterfly container. I'm going to add one of these on after. I don't think I need one with the beads, cute though it is. I'll just have one of those ready. And I think I'll have another few little bits of washi underneath, a little bit of interest, and maybe a scrap of paper. Really add any little bits, it just adds a bit of a mat underneath the butterfly. So that can go on there. And what we'll have when we've sewn around it is a butterfly just sitting on the top of a few little pieces of paper, and you'll see them just tucking out from underneath. The next step is to add a closure, and the closure in this pocket is a circle. So we have a circle of cardstock that we've made, ideally perhaps with more of the same washi tape so that it coordinates, or maybe in a similar colour. And this circle is going to go at a bit of a distance from the top flap. So we don't want the top flap to actually tuck underneath the circle. This is a closure where the string does the work and we just put these behind it. So when we add this closure, we want it to be fairly loose so the string can wrap underneath it. And we definitely want it to be in the middle of this widthwise, but to be far enough away from the top flap so that this doesn't tuck underneath. So let's just have a go at that. So I know I need this to be in the middle, and I want to make a mark where I'm going to punch a hole with a needle. So this is, let's do it in inches, it's probably easiest for me. This needs to be in the middle at 2 inches. Just use my negative space. I want to make a mark so that the centre of my circle means the whole of the closure won't touch the top flap. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes it's not the easiest to explain everything just on camera while you're doing it at the time. I do my best, I really do. I'm just taking a needle, this is what I use to make my junk journals, and just fairly carefully punching a hole through there, and that will be where I put a little closure. That will go on there. So let's add that with a brad. What colour shall we have? What colour shall we have? Shall we have a contrast to this teal, or maybe a blue? Oh, I've seen a pale. Oh, lovely greens in there. Oh, I like them all. I like them all. There's a really nice sort of pale olive. The two together. Oh, they're stuck. There we go. So I will make a similar hole in the middle of my little closure. If you want to just have a little bit of inspiration, playing with some colours, some paint, a bit of washi, whatever you like, and make these closures, check out my video from a couple of weeks ago, and I'll leave a link to that in the description box down below. I've got a relatively large brad because I wanted that to be showing up on the pocket. Put my brad through and then take that through the hole that we made on the lower flap, like that. And I will splay open the little legs there, press those down but not too firmly. As I say, we want some space for the string to tuck behind, and just to help I'm going to put a little bit of washi tape over that. So far we're doing really well. We've got a bottom flap decorated, a bit on the top, and we've added our closure. So where are we up to? How are we doing? We've added a closure to the lower flap. We need to move on to make a hole for the eyelet. So we're going to make a hole here. So again, that needs to be in the middle. We'll make a hole, let's make a mark. And this hole, it doesn't need to be super specific where you make it. There we go, hole for the eyelet. That's great spacing. We've got enough space to be able to wind the string around. We've done step 7, make a hole for the eyelet. We've actually already done step 8, which is add washi and a bit of scrap paper to the top flap, which means we're already at step 9, and that is sewing around. So let me show you where I sew. I start at the bottom and work up and move around, and I did try on some of these early ones at sewing along the bottom, and you can do that. Or if you wish, here's a gorgeous one in some lovely colours. Do you like this one? Do you like the bronzes? I really like that, and I've got a bit of gold on the butterfly too. So on this one, when I sewed around it, I started at the bottom left and I went up and around. Again, it's the same cardstock type, but I didn't sew across the bottom. So it's a choice, you don't have to. I guess it's just aesthetics. What do you like? So I'm going to go away and just sew one of these. So this is one that I've sewn, and on this one I have just gone around 3 sides. So I've not gone across the bottom. And I really like this one because I was able to find some yellowish creamy book page which toned with the inside of this particular cardstock, which I really liked. I've also already added the eyelet, and I chose a rose gold little eyelet there, which goes so well with the yellows and golds in the closure. So what I need to do is add the string. So let me show you the length of string I add and just how I push that through. Double it over, and I just push that through from the back. Said these were quick and easy. You could do quite a few in a day, I think, if you were sitting at your desk and just got the bug. And then I'm going to add just a beautiful butterfly. What do you think of this one? This is really one of my favourites. I absolutely love it. It's from Artie May's Andrea Allen, who does lots of gorgeous images. I'm just going to put that like that, maybe at a jaunty angle. And this gives me a pocket where I can now just take these individual strings and just go underneath the closure, round, and I go underneath the closure and round. And these are my fold over pockets, just a quick and easy tutorial. Here are the process steps if you want to take a screenshot. And if you've enjoyed seeing me make these, then check out my video where I make these pocket pouches. They're stuffed full of lovely goodies and made from matte papers and sewn around. I hope to see you soon.